Welcome to the AADA Workshop Program and this session titled SaaS for Wholesale in Your Business. Presented by Andrew Tyson, General Manager, and Semesmieh, Platform Engineering Manager at CarZap. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Andrew Tyson and Semesmieh.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for taking the time out this morning for our workshop on SaaS for wholesale in your dealership. Hope you're enjoying AADA today. It's day two, so we're very mindful on day two when we're doing workshops of your time. You've had a full day yesterday and plenty of things to do today, I'm sure. So we're going to walk you through SaaS, what it is in your business, and how it can impact your wholesale. In the absence of video intros today, we're going to do a couple of things. First and foremost, we feel like at a workshop presentation, don't be scared to engage, right? So we're going to give you a bit of a thought leadership talk on what is SaaS, for example, why in your business, what is it, how does it relate to your wholesale, and how can it improve your business. I think the easiest way to start that before we run through an agenda is, who in the room understands what SaaS is? If we can get a show of hands, so a nice and simple. Yep, so we've got a couple, few. Happy days. Kick it off just so you understand who I am and who the beautiful man standing next to me, who we accidentally dressed very similar today, if you didn't already notice. That wasn't planned. Yeah. So the matchy was it. So I'm Andrew Tyson. I'm the General Manager of CarZap. I've spent my entire career in the automotive industry doing wholesale predominantly, across a couple of different organisations. I was at Toyota Finance for a few years as fleet manager, procurement and remarketing. I spent a lot of time at Mannheim, pre-Mannheim at Fowles Auction Group, predominantly even before Toyota. I was with NRMA for a few years as well, doing their procurement and remarketing under the Thrifty brand, which is now Sixt. And I've been at Pickles now for nearly 10 years and took over our launch of the startup of CarZap in 2018, 2019. So that's essentially my background. I'm joined here today by Anas, and he'll give you a bit of an idea what he's all about.
Yes, good morning, guys. So I'm the techie in the whole conference, I think. So it's overwhelming to meet all of you guys. I started back in Syria, so I'm originally Syrian. Started as an IT admin / support. We fixed all the troubles for the guys who basically have them, printer, computers, all the way to servers. And then I moved to Malaysia, where I started with Netium as a software engineer. That's a small enterprise about gaming, online gaming. Switched then to a startup within an enterprise, a similar setup here. Also as a software engineer. Spent there around 3 years, and we actually launched a product back then, which is called Self-Driven. After that, I moved to Strateq as a solution architect, where I dealt with...
What's a solution architect?
Okay, so you know architect. A solution architect is basically what designs the software, how it's supposed to be. It's basically a position that actually picked up more around the cloud stuff came in, because you had a lot of options. Previously, just get bare metal, chug in hard drives, chug in the OS. Your applications will run smoothly just as they run on your own laptop. So when it became a solution architect, you had a variety of services. You have options, providers, and all of those starting from, okay, I'm going to go too technical here. IaaS, PaaS.
Don't get too technical, remember?
You asked, right? So it's IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. We're focused today on SaaS. Happy to explain those after the session. IaaS, PaaS, what they mean, how the difference between SaaS. So after that, I got an exciting opportunity to join CarZap, which I did, rebuilding the whole platform. And we managed to launch it successfully in 2019. I stayed there for a couple of years, and then I grew into Pickles. Still look after CarZap from time to time. It's my baby. It was launched in 2019. Like Tyson, I can't get away from him. So that's where I am at the moment. So I'm a platform engineering manager at Pickles. I look after both CarZap and Pickles' main internal products. And today, Tyson already touched on what is SaaS, and quite a few guys already know. Before we jump into the details, I have some video, which I SaaS'd through the biggest SaaS provider for video out there, which is YouTube. So I'm going to just play it. You guys take a look, and then we'll reflect on that.
The series where I explain to you what those weird and wonderful business and entrepreneurial phrases mean. Today, we're going to look at the term SaaS, and I guarantee that even if you've never heard of this term before, you will use SaaS products on a daily basis. So what does SaaS stand for? It simply means software as a service, and I promise that it's not as complicated as it sounds. SaaS is a form of cloud computing. It's a software distribution model in which a service provider hosts applications for customers and makes them available through the internet. It's usually sold through a license or subscription model. Here's my Stone Age pal, Rab the Rockstar, to help explain SaaS in a wee bit more detail. This little genius was the world's first entrepreneur when he set up his own business back in the days when people were still living in caves. Rab designed and manufactured tools to help hunters catch their prey. Now obviously, Rab faces a lot of the same problems like modern entrepreneurs do. He had to have a great product, a market to sell it to, investment when he wanted to grow his business, and premises that were fit for purpose. But sadly, Rab didn't have the internet. I mean, we're talking about a time when the wheel was revolutionary, so things like the internet and electricity would have blown Rab's mind. However, if Rab had the benefit of the internet, SaaS would have made running his business much easier. For example, he could have set up a work email address through Gmail for customers to contact him and place orders. He could have shared his calendar and video messages with colleagues through Google Drive. All his files and documents would have been at his fingertips if he'd used Dropbox. If he was promoting his business and designing marketing material, Adobe would have been perfect. So you see, you are familiar with loads of SaaS applications. Like anything to do with the internet, there are advantages and disadvantages of using SaaS. Because it's software, it can be easily updated, so you're always using the newest version. It can expand as the business grows, and you can log in from anywhere, as you simply need access to the browser and an internet connection, making it ultra convenient. But on the downside, issues may arise with sensitive data. If, for example, medical records or legal information isn't stored on a company's server, it may not be as secure, and privacy could be a problem. And the fact that it's internet dependent is a problem too. What happens if the internet is down, or you're travelling on a plane with no Wi-Fi, or a train with a slow connection? So you might have thought someone with SaaS was a bit cool and a bit edgy, but it turns out someone with SaaS has been busy using apps. Not a mistake you want to make in a business meeting.
Can I interject before you start on that? So there's a really good reason we thought we'd start with that video. Part of it's your face, right? The idea is we're going to introduce what SaaS is if you don't already know as a service, but we're going to try not to be as boring and not as engaging as that for the next 25 minutes, right? So they covered all the basics in a sense, but we'd like to introduce this to you over the next 25 minutes or so. Feel free to ask questions, but essentially we'll walk you through via and ask myself what it is and how it's going to help you.
All right, so to put it in a nutshell, that video was mostly about benefits and disadvantages of SaaS. We're here to focus mainly on the benefits, but I'll start with that first in a generic way. So as you can see there, so reduced upfront cost. Can anyone give a guess what that means? What's an upfront cost? Not how you reduce it. Cool. So an upfront cost, whenever you venture into a digital transformation journey, you usually have a cost associated with that. With a SaaS model, you have an opportunity to have that cost minimized, because most of the SaaS products out there offer either a free trial or a pay-as-you-go model. With that, you don't have to invest a lot of money in, and your upfront cost is reduced. Now, move to the second benefit or advantage is scalability. So your current business opportunity may be on a scale of 1 to 10 at the moment at 5. What happens when you scale to 10? Now, SaaS products usually scale together with your business, together with your need. It can start with 1 all the way to 10, or even 100 if it has to. So scalability is what SaaS offers to you. And now, Thirdly, which is flexibility and customization. Now, we all must have some sort of already existing SaaS applications or even internal applications. Now, customization and flexibility that is provided by usual SaaS products offers you the opportunity to connect your other SaaS applications or even non-SaaS applications, your internal tools, your internal software, with that SaaS application, so you can have a whole suite or connected, integrated end-to-end suite. Now, security, which has been touched also throughout the video, mainly about privacy, sensitive information. That's a topic that usually takes a fleet of engineers, security experts just to get it through, right? You don't need to worry about that. You just subscribe to a service, which they already have their own fleet. They've got that covered for you. So that's in general terms, but we're not here to talk general. So I'd like to reflect on why for Automotive. First is increased efficiency. Can anyone give me an example where you think SaaS would help that before I dive in?
At a product level or at a process level?
Any level. In your whole
Don't be scared.
Automotive. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's go to a common topic, right? Efficiency, invoicing. Look back 5 years ago. How was it? It was on manual, signatures required, through a dotted printer. Now, you get an email. It's all fully distributed. So those are also SaaS providers that will generate and distribute your invoices. So that's an example of how SaaS actually increased your efficiency. And improved customer service. We all now want to be close to our customers. We all want to connect to our customers throughout multiple channels. You connecting to SaaS products that will actually make you closer to your customers will increase their experience overall. Imagine having a rating on every communication that you get throughout the process. Aggregating all these comms, where you can connect an SMS to an email to even a phone call. So that's what SaaS offers. Increased sales. Go back 10 years ago, you were limited to your state if you were a best dealer, right? You would have to travel days and nights just to get your stock across. Now, with SaaS offerings that you can market your stuff online and even across the world, not even limited to the country, that gives you an increased sales. Reduced cost. I think most of us should be able to relate to that. So it's either you increase sale or reduce cost. Both are together a business benefit. So can anyone give me an example of a reduced cost SaaS application? Or maybe you've used it in any process or throughout your wholesale process? No? It's okay. We can wait for another slide. It's mainly on manpower. So anything that you automate, anything you do digital transformation of, that would actually eventually get you the benefit of a reduced cost in an automotive industry. Think about inspections or evaluations. You used to have to phone multiple dealers just to get an evaluation on a certain asset. Now, there's plenty of SaaS services that would offer that service with a simple click of a button once you put in the details of a car. So that's about it. And I'm not a wholesale expert. I'm not a selling expert, so I'll pass it back to Tyson so he can reflect on...
Thanks, tech guy. That's good.
Yeah.
Okay, my part in this process, and as I said, I'd love the engagement if we can get there, right? But SaaS for wholesale. So I reckon everybody in this room is using a SaaS product across the other segments of your automotive dealership, be it retail, be it service, fixed ops types of stuff, right? CRM, even customer engagement. So how relative is it to wholesale? And when I talk about wholesale, I effectively break it down to 4 different items, right? Evaluation, acquisition, marketing, and selling. So they're the elements in the wholesale part of your business that we feel like software as a service products out there now, absolutely available to you, can give you, if you think back to Anas's previous slide, there's where do I want to reduce cost, for example, or where do I want to increase sales across wholesale? How do I improve my margin? Okay, there is, generally speaking, products out there that are going to help you with each of those elements, which are the key 4, right? So if I start with evaluation, that's the super easy one, right? There is heaps of really good evaluation tools available to you for your business. Now again, often the appraisal tool, which is where I sort of talk about an evaluation level, can cover a couple of different things. So if you're just focused in your business on what can I use software as a service to improve wholesale, potentially you just start with evaluation. It's almost the first step in the wholesale process in your business. And it covers, well, I think it covers, correct me if I'm wrong, right? It potentially starts with lead generation. So there's a number of software as a service products out there where you can, add a literal URL, widget, whatever you want to call it, API point on your website to generate, chuck a rego in, I'm interested in engaging your business, I want to buy that used car, or I just want to sell you my car. Put your rego in, it'll identify your car, it'll potentially give you an evaluation, and part of that process is you grab their email address, their mobile number, and you're connected to them. So you're generating a lead from that level, and that's part of your wholesale process, right? You're trying to introduce that customer to a transaction in your business. Quality of vehicle identification. So again, 20 years ago, and it's still happening now, I shouldn't say 20 years ago, I still like to be somewhat relevant. There's still plenty of dealerships using handwriting, their appraisal sheets, right? There's a process benefit there in terms of an efficiency of just putting it into a digital environment. Because again, at a rego level, at a VIN, at a year model VIN qualification, you can identify the car 99% of the time really well. Some products do it better than others. Some focus on it really well because there's a brand level. And again, we're trying to be less than advertorial. Some brands, it's more important to identify elements of that brand and that product than it is for other brands, right? Some people do it really well. But again, there's software service product providers out there will do it at the level you would like to invest and look at. Conversion management, again, at the evaluation level, how many am I doing? How many am I buying as a result? If anyone saw, I did a workshop last year where I did break down the difference between a revenue opportunity and margin, right? At a lead generation level, how many of those introduced valuations are you converting for your business? Right? Whether that's at just a trade-in level for a new car and then ends up in wholesale, or trade in a new car that you keep for retail environment. Right? But at a software as a service level, that process in your wholesale department becomes infinitely faster at potentially less cost to you if that's what you're looking at based on those 3 or 4 metrics, right? And that you combine the 3 again, just go back quickly, improve decisions. I'm sure lots of businesses are doing it, but not everybody's doing it, and that's sort of the process we're trying to help you understand now. Which parts of these can I go out and find a provider and make an improvement in my business? If it's at a minimum, you go and source an appraisal tool that lets you look at cars better, faster, find more buying opportunities, convert them better, and at the end of the month, have a look at how well you did that, so next month you can be better at it. Right? That's one of the 4 things I look at in wholesale that software as a service providers and products will help you with. Acquisition, again, I think of it 2 ways, right? So acquisition meaning you're acquiring it, so there's that data processing part, which again, if you think of the first step, if you're doing it, I use the word analog, right? If you're doing it, filling out forms and recording them, again, from my experience, some businesses, even when they do that, they're only entering the ones that become a deal because it's got to go into a deal file somewhere, right? The acquisition piece, data sharing straight back in, right? You've recorded it, it can be recorded into your DMS, you can report on it straight away, you're acquiring that information, right? That's acquisition, not just buying it, it's acquiring the data, putting it into a CRM, because you've got their email address, you've got their mobile number, you're using it across different parts of your business. But again, you're doing that at that level, you're introducing it at your wholesale part. Integration, heaps of them. So once you've acquired the info, how do I use it across my business? There's software as a service providers, really good integrators with anything you've got. And CRM is a super simple example of that at the same time. Right? So just punching it from an appraisal tool into your DMS provider that's integrated with them is capturing all that info, and you get to make better decisions, you get to look at things better, faster, and you don't need 10, 15 people to do that at any given time. Not that you have 15 people in your wholesale department, but you're just making it simpler and faster and easier for your business. Marketing's the one I talk about, right? That's the one, that's my wheelhouse in terms of my experience, what I'm doing, have been doing for the last few years, right? So there's a lot of marketing going on in a wholesale department. I mean, at a small micro level there is, in the sense that you've all got a connected buyer base at some level. And that may be simply a handful of wholesalers that you communicate with or your wholesale buyer communicates with in whatever way, whether that's ringing them or they pop into your dealership a couple of days a week, but we don't traditionally market to them, right? But again, if you've acquired the right information, you're recording it properly across different products in your business, you give yourself the ability to actually do some marketing around that wholesale product, right? You can pick where you want to market those cars to. You trade good cars that you don't want to keep in your dealership. You're a brand, I'll use a brand in that sense. I'm a Mercedes dealer, right? I don't put a Toyota Corolla on my used car lot, right? But I might have traded a really good one that's of value to me. But the guy who's an independent dealer may not be the best guy to sell that car to at the best return for my business. So you can just send it to all the Toyota dealers you've got. Again, appraisal tools allow you to do that now. There's connected marketplaces that will allow you to do that now. That's better marketing. I mean, that's what it is. It's not just relying on a couple of relationships or a handful or 10, whatever the number is within your business and your organisation. It's being able to broaden that really quickly and build a better relationship and get a better result really quickly. And margin growth and protection, I combine the two in a sense, right? So you may be doing the process really well now, and you're happy with your margin in wholesale. I mean, I always question that. I'm like, if you're not challenging your margin every other day, every other month, every other year, I feel like you're missing something somewhere, right? So it's a mix of, am I doing it really well? Am I marketing to the right people? Can I find 10 more buyers? Can I communicate more direct to the people that are giving me a better return? Because I can see those channels when I'm marketing to them and they're engaging me and I'm transacting. Does that make sense? And protecting it. If you are doing it well, how do I keep doing it well? Not now, in 12 months, 5 years, the whole way through. Like the cycle for your business is, you like to think as owners, you're trying to continue to be better all the time. So that's why I sort of talk about margin and protection. It's if I'm really good at it, how do I keep being good at it? Selling, again, these two are probably the we are selling. I still think wholesale, we're not super efficient at it. There is connected marketplaces available, software as a service providers. Again, in our space, it's a very simple subscription / it's a free environment unless you transact, right? We're a transaction-based business. So it's about how do I efficiently find more buyers. The reality of it is it costs you nothing to get to that point before you transact, right? So that's a super efficient way to build out more buyers and look to get more money or look to get more engagement or look to find people that are going to engage you. And traditionally in the relationship space for wholesale, you find a new person to sell to, very big chunk of the time they're going to try and sell you a car back, and or you can build that relationship to buy a car back from them. That's the starting point. It always is. That's the point of a relationship. You're trying to engage each other. And doing that in a connected marketplace is really efficient. Yes, there's an element of disrupting the relationship part of that transaction, but the reality is that longer term is a benefit to you both. Being the guy that's never met you and can't build a relationship in an analog way, and as referred before, you can go across boundaries. If you're a Sydney dealer, trust me, there's guys in Melbourne and Brisbane will buy your car off you if you engage in a really good way in a digital marketplace. Right? Don't have to be standing next to each other to do that. Transparent and audible. Again, I'm big on this one. There's so much value in being transparent in your wholesale transaction process. And as business owners and people who manage the process, the ability to have oversight on that on a regular basis is also a powerful management tool to be able to see, hey, am I dealing with enough people? Who am I selling my wholesale cars to? At what level? The cars that are less than $5,000, who am I selling them to versus the cars that are $25,000? Is there an opportunity there for me to find more people to buy and to look at it? Because if they're looking at them, they'll look at them for a period of time before they transact with you, that sort of concept. These, again, are where software as a service products that are available to you will give you little bits and chunks in your process to give you some benefit and it's some efficiencies. And margin growth that's the obvious one, right? It's if I'm making 300 on a car in wholesale now, how do I grow that to 400, 500 and wherever you want to or think you can push that to really quickly?
That's not fair.
Pardon?
That's not fair.
No.
You covered the whole industry, which means basically everybody in this conference today, and even those who are not here, from SaaS provider perspective, they all fit into that. Which
And
leads to the next slide, right?
Yeah, we're not going to, I suppose one of the takeouts we want everyone to think about is there's like the whole process. That's your entire wholesale process, right? That you could have a product for. So what we think is also useful, and if you've ever engaged me, I'm big on the change management process and the input, right? Here's a bunch of providers, super quick, right?
So it's overwhelming.
Yeah, there's heaps of them out there, right? So how do I go back to my dealership in the next week, or next few days, and go, how is that info that those clowns from Cars App and Pickles gave us going to be useful, and how can I implement, right? I feel like that's the takeaway we're trying to at least offer you as delegates. What can I do next? So I'm going to flick it to Anas to give you a way to look at that as well, and hopefully I'll try and keep him less techie and a bit of context.
Okay, thank you. So we only picked a handful of providers of SaaS on this slide, but there are plenty more out there. And evaluating a software has started earlier way in the tech industry. That's why I'll be able to give you some context there, because ever since I started my career, we've been evaluating softwares, which one to pick and why. I want to make it more relevant to you guys. Hence we're going to try and give you a cheat sheet in a way. How do you actually assess any SaaS provider?
Yeah, as a decision maker,
Yes.
in context to my wholesale process, what's a way I can look at that and get the best out of a product or a provider?
So the first point would be price relevance. So the wholesale process, as Tyson explained just earlier, right? It starts all the way from acquisition, evaluation, marketing, and selling. You may not targeting the end-to-end process. You may be after just chugging in some SaaS providers in your marketing, or you think there's potential there, or maybe on your evaluation. There's a lot of people, but there's a potential cost savings, there's a potential efficiency, or maybe pick 2, pick 3, whatever it is. So price relevance is basically how much you're willing to invest into that digital transformation that you're doing, and under which segment of the process, as Tyson explained it earlier.
Could you say commitment to ROI, for example?
Yes.
Yeah.
That ROI is return of investment. This is basically price relevance. I'm willing to pay nothing on that, or I'm willing to chip in $1 million.
Yeah, so what's free that I can start with?
So I want only free. Maybe then that maybe will slash 50% of your options if you're only looking after for free trials or free subscription or pay as you go. So I want to transform half of the department only and use the SaaS provider and then compare their results, right? So that's the price relevance, how much you're willing to chipping in terms of money. Second part is digital horizon. Now, anybody can guess what digital horizon is?
Someone can have a crack at it.
Just
surely.
have a crack at it. There's no right or
There's
wrong
a couple of people in the room that might be able to have a crack at it. Don't be scared, boys.
Anyone?
What's coming?
No? But you're that close.
Well done.
Well, thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Digital horizon is basically how many devices you're covering. Are you on phone, iPads, Android, Apple, Macs, desktops? Are you a service? Are you an integration? Are you a plugin? So
And when you say you, qualify that. So
SaaS.
So me as my business, or what are my customers?
No, what are you
on?
looking for?
Yeah, what are you
Again,
looking for?
Those are assessment and criteria for the SaaS providers.
Yes.
So I'm after a mobile app, then that slashes most providers by half, if even more, because they don't have a mobile presence. So again, to assess you in making a decision which SaaS providers you need to go to, because most of SaaS providers, they try to cover the end-to-end process. They try to eat the whole cake, everybody does. But at the end of the day, everybody just gets a piece, right? Based on what you're after. So I'm after iPads. Then the best provider in iPad realm would definitely be different than the best provider on an integration level, or on a website, or maybe on, I don't know, mobile website, your SMS, your chat. Now, AI is kicking in, right? Who has the AI integrations? That's a new digital horizon.
Yeah, don't
right?
go to AI.
Nope,
Just stay
I'm moving
focused
away.
on us.
Okay, integrations, which halfly what I touched on. It depends on, okay, there's already an existing SaaS providers for me. I'm already using that, and it's critical. I need the capability of integrating with that. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. I don't need my data to be duplicated in 2 systems. So having that integration is critical. So again, that fits into your assessment criteria. Because you may decide, I need my marketing to be connected with my evaluation through System X. And if that provider doesn't offer integration with System X, then that simply just rolls it out of your equation or assessment between other providers. Lastly, which is security and assurance. Again, similar to the advantages that we discussed earlier, you may be willing to risk that because usually security is expensive. If you're looking for the best secure product out there, they would definitely have a price tag on it because they've invested in security. You may be not sharing a lot of information, maybe not sharing sensitive information. So maybe security won't contribute much to your decision. You're okay with that information being public. Maybe it will actually benefit you if it is. Maybe you're not worried about it being secure at the end of the day. No, if it goes online, if it goes on some blog or somebody posts it on Facebook, I'll be happier. He's doing marketing for me. Other way around, maybe, these are leads. These are phone calls and email addresses of my customers. I can't afford them being leaked or transferred to another SaaS provider or maybe to a competitor. So that's where security and assurance comes in. A simple touch on the assurance part in an example of a payment gateway. There are a lot of payment gateways out there. Some of them provide you end-to-end encryption and biometric verification, and some of them simply is a web page where anybody can see your username and password and take away all your money. So that's where the assessment of the assurance is.
Before you flick to the next slide, so essentially, again, what we're trying to offer you is probably the best way to put it, right, is an understanding of there's a bunch of things out there that are going to impact your wholesale, and we felt like a really good way to do that was help you understand a little bit about SaaS and what products can help in your wholesale department and where you can gain efficiency and understand it. How do you go away from AADA 2023 and go, where can I get some benefit out of that? Assessing it, understanding, look at the four, right? These slide decks are available to you if you want to come and chat with us and think about the assessment criteria. We've got one more slide, which is sort of an idea on, here's some of the ways you can look at it, right? Assessing it before you do it, like out of the four things, what's most relevant to me? And what do I want to invest in terms of cost to look at what I'm going to do? And where do I do it? I think that's what I was trying to say to Anas, where's the context? Like, if my wholesale guy's really good on a smart device or he can't get away from a smart device, he likes sitting at his laptop all the time. Wholesale guy or girl, should be careful of that, sorry. Integrations, like I'm using Pentana, is the appraisal tool going to be integrated so I don't have to then go and put the data somewhere else or manually input it? I guarantee you most of them will do a lot of that sort of stuff, for example. And then security, I feel like those providers are going to manage your security, so it might not be a big criteria for you. But like you said, if it's payment, and you're trying to use it in wholesale to do a transaction that relates to a private consumer and there's data and privacy things, that's an element in the change you're going to have to maybe think about a bit more than integration or digital horizon. And like you said, if it's security based and it's important to you and it's relevant, that's probably going to be really relevant too in terms of price.
Yeah. So
super quick before we wrap it, unless you've got something.
Yeah, I just want to comment on that, right? So in the tech industry, right, you pick any product out there, no matter how big they are, AWS and Microsoft, you have two big parties, right? Everybody fights who's better. And everybody has their own assessment criteria. It may be fit for your business to go this way. It may be fit for your business to go the other way. It doesn't mean that either of you are wrong. It just fits your criteria better. So in technical realm, we usually use cost, coverage, which is digital horizon, customization, which is integration in this way, and of course the security is in both ends. So this is what we usually
Good way to start, essentially, how can I make a change and what's going to be beneficial for me?
Yeah.
So super quick on the last one, and we're at stand 42 if you want to come and chat with us. We don't want to hold you up for too much longer.
Next one.
We grabbed a bunch of the products that we looked at, and we looked at the 4 different ways. What are the things that are going to be useful in my wholesale that I currently do now? And then we looked at a bunch of them. We could have done like 45 different ones. You can go, like these guys, Pentana do evaluation. I'm pretty sure they do. And again, this could not be perfect, just so we're right. We covered most of it. It's try to give you an understanding of what you would look at and how you'd criteria and make a decision, right? These guys, eval do evaluation, acquisition, marketing. That bottom box would probably be ticked now. They do some marketplace stuff. They do some C2B, for example. Auto check is an appraisal. They do all those. They don't do marketing. Redbook do most. I don't think Redbook do selling. I'm pretty sure in terms of in your wholesale, they won't find you someone to sell your wholesale product to. DADM's a pricing service. SalesLog, we should have probably looked at that heaps more. I'm pretty sure they do evaluation in a sense as well. Deal Solutions do a bunch of it. I don't think they do an evaluation tool under Dealer Solutions. And Facebook Marketplace, we're pretty confident they don't do evaluation, acquisition, marketing, right? But the point of this is, that's how you could sit down and look at what do I want to do? What are the products that are out there? And then go, okay, I can very easily focus on what I'm trying to achieve very quickly, implement, work with your teams, and go and find an efficiency.
And again,
try and find something that helps you.
Those checks are based on our assessment criteria.
Yeah, that's just us looking at it.
Right? You can have your own different view. So these guys checked those boxes for us when we looked at them. It doesn't mean that they don't offer it.
Yeah, there was nothing
So-
concocted about that other
Because
than
we may
these
have
are
a
the
different
things you wanna
price
look at,
relevance, right? We may have different price relevance. We may have a different take on security, or even we may have a strong take on integrations. So that's the tick boxes that are out there. It's basically based on our evaluation, but the idea of this, we want to give you a context on how you can evaluate all these various SaaS providers out there and be able to make a better decision. Or
Plan the decision.
Plan decision.
Yep.
Yeah.
Change management's all about what am I going to do,
Yep.
how am I going to implement, and how can I do that really well, right? And that
Exactly.
takes planning. You don't just come up with it at lunchtime and then throw it into your dealership the next day. That's not going to help. Flick to the last one. That's all we've got for you guys. Unless you've got questions that are relevant or you want to ask us something, ask us now if you're comfortable. We're down at stand 42 in the expo. We'll be there all day. We absolutely appreciate your time coming up and finding out whether we're going to add any value to you. We feel like we try to, so hopefully you've got something out of it. The point for us is if you walk out of this room today, take something back to your dealership, we come across you in the next 6 to 12 months and you say, hey, we did this and it's been really good, that's a win for everybody, not just us, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the context of the conference. It's the road ahead. Hopefully you can take something away, engage a service provider that's going to give you a benefit, and you've done something really good and you've made some value out of being here in the last couple of days, yeah?
It all starts with your decision to make that transformation. Any place you want already has a SaaS offering. So
Yeah,
wherever,
there's heaps of them down there. Go your hardest. Go and say
just
hello to them all.
pick an area, there's definitely SaaS provider in it, and just manage your change. Make your decision based on criteria that it's more relevant to your business, more relevant to your business flow,
Yeah, and
most
focus.
importantly. And that's it.
Anything? Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.